Excited to be here again for another month with the Daniel's Head team and the How to Manage team. We got R. John Robbins from How to Manage. In this session, we're going to be covering the employee side of things.
Everyone's favorite topic.
Exactly. On the team element, so how to find talent, how to onboard them properly. Arjun's got a very, very unique formula in regards to how you ascend someone from an initial team or team member into sort of the, sending them into a higher level vernacular in sort of the organization, which we'll definitely touch on.
How we go from employee to staff to team. You started
exactly.
and you had nowhere to go
from employee. Exactly. Yeah. And then at the end, for everyone, whether you're watching live or on the recording, we're going to have a 5-page cheat sheet to disseminate to you, whether you have to register for it. There'll be a link either on the page as you're watching the recording, or we'll send it out to all of the attendees afterward that you can download to have a little bit more insight about all of these elements. So excited to jump into it and get rocking and rolling. For those of you who have not been on one of the previous webinars or seen one of the previous recordings, R. John Robbins is founder of How to Manage a Small Law Firm. They've got several hundred, over 600 law firms that they manage from the CEO elements, the COO elements, and a variety of other capacities across the board. They know law firms just like Daniel's Head knows law firms, but from two different sides of the coin, which is why this works really, really well. And excited to sort of dive into it. Arjun, anything that you want to sort of address or discuss on the employee side before you start asking some questions and rocking and rolling?
I would say that what we're going to be covering today is to give you some ideas and some insights about how to hire, train, manage, and make a profit with your employees and your staff and build them into a team. And I would just say that when I was starting off in business many years ago, and today we have about 150 full-time employees at How to Manage, and between the 600 something law firms that we help to manage, we're probably thousands of employees that we have a hand in managing. I used to think like can't live with them, can't live without them, that employees were a necessary evil. I used to have a very dim view of employees. I will tell you that as my business has grown, as I have liberated myself personally from a lot of the day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, year-to-year financial concerns of life, I have discovered, much to my surprise, just how much I enjoy using my business to help build and grow people. It's really very rewarding. And if anyone isn't experiencing that in your law firm, you're missing out. You might be missing out because you just haven't grown your law firm to a scale yet, which we can talk about. But if you do have employees, you're not using your business to help them just grow and evolve and realize their full potential as human beings, you're missing out on a very gratifying, and by the way, oh my God, is it profitable approach to that relationship. So some of you are like feeling all warm and fuzzy and hearing all the help people grow into their full potential. And some of you are just like, oh my God, it's profitable. It's both.
I love it. I think that's actually a good way to start of how do you ascend people from initially being a staff member to being an employee to being on the team member. What does that ascension look like? What does the time duration look like? And why do you segment it down like that?
Okay. So first off, it starts off as an employee. Everyone comes in as an employee. Employees are people who show up. They are given a job to do. They are given instructions for how to do the job. They're given training, hopefully, on how to do the job. They're giving tools, they're given resources, they're given a job to do, they come in, they do the job. If you hire them right, if you train them right, if you manage them effectively, they will be more profitable. You'll have less turnover. You'll have a lower risk of malpractice, which is obviously a good thing. they may never become a part of your staff. They may never become a member of your team. Employees show up, they do a job. A staff is more like an orchestra. A staff is a group of people who collaborate, they cooperate, they work together. A staff, they work together, generally speaking, because they realize, consciously or unconsciously, on some level, they get that by working together, we get more work done, we're more productive, we're more efficient, we don't have to work overtime as much, we get more control over our time, we add more value to the law firm, therefore the law firm has the opportunity to give us more raises and more bonuses and more opportunities. And it's just a more fun way to go through life, being a member of a staff rather than being a lone wolf employee. Eventually, some people, not everyone goes from employee to staff, and not everyone on the staff goes from staff to a member of the team. A team is a group of people who believe in a shared mission, a shared vision, a shared goal, a shared objective. Teams win together, teams lose together. When any member of the team wins even a little bit, everyone on the team is like, great, we all benefited as a team. When any member of the team loses, everyone on the team feels frustrated and disappointed because in some way, shape, or form, that hurts the team. Again, not everyone is going to become a member of the team. Not everyone has to be a member of the team. In any organization, in any mature, healthy organization, it's like the pyramid, right? At the top, you've got the people who are the member of the team. In the middle, you've got people who are a member of the staff. And at the bottom, you might have a bunch of employees. You have to earn the right to go to the next level.
So what does that look like? I mean, if someone is, and we've talked a little bit about mindsets and some of the other marketing things and elements like this. If someone is a, 1 or 2 attorney law firm with maybe a few support staff, how do you take that framework and relate it to many of what are Daniel's Head's clients, as well as how to manage his clients as far as that level of structure?
The distinction between an employee, staff, and team is a function of how vested a person is in the mission, the vision, the purpose of the organization.
So it's more of a how vested or how invested are they in what the goals of the organization are, more than anything.
So yeah, I mean, if I could say it just more bluntly, it's how much do they give a crap, right? A person who really gives a crap is probably a member of the team. Person who's like, I don't really care that much. I come in, I do my job, I get a paycheck, I leave. They're probably an employee. And the staff is kind of like that in between. And the point I'm making with this is it's not a function of the size of the law firm. You could have a law firm with 100 employees, no team, and no staff. And there's plenty of those. Those are the command control type of organizations where everyone's just like a robot. Do this, do this, do this, do this. And you have no discretion. And you could have 2 people working together who are a team. It's not a function of the size of the law firm. It's not a function of the amount of revenue that the law firm generates. It's not a function of the practice area. I mean, that's obvious, but I have to say it anyway, because, every lawyer wants to try to excuse themselves from these realities of business because of my practice area. Got nothing to do with your practice area. You got people working there. They're either employees or their staff or their team.
And so is there a way, like when do you, on the ascension from an employee to staff and staff to team, giving a crap, obviously would be the filter, but what is the best and most effective way to get buy-in and ascend people from employee to staff, that a first initial jump?
first off, the best way is really, it starts with your recruiting. When you're recruiting people, when you're interviewing people, when you're making the decision to hire someone or not. I'm sorry, I got like an itchy nose. When you're recruiting and hiring and onboarding new people, that's the time to start laying the foundation for the growth, for the ascension. What I mean specifically is, in your recruiting, you ought to be talking about the mission of the organization. You ought to be talking about the purpose of the organization. You ought to be talking about the culture and the values of the organization. People who resonate with, people who are inspired by, people who are excited by the vision, the mission, the values, the culture, that kind of stuff, are going to gravitate towards the firm. They're going to be more likely to apply for the job. People who are repelled or offended by the mission, the vision, the values, all that, are going to obviously probably not apply for the job. So you give yourself an unfair advantage here. And some people will just apply for the job. They don't care one way or the other. They just want a job. Those are probably not going to be good candidates to become a member of the team in the future. So like with how to manage a small law firm, we get people often who will say, this is the only job I applied for. They will often say, I wasn't even really seriously looking for a job. Someone sent this to me because they thought that I would love it. And oh my God, I want to be part of what you're doing. I mean, that is where you find the stuff from which you build a team.
So what you're basically...
One more thing I got to tell you. We also get hate mail. Every time we post an ad, every time we open a new position, we get people writing us emails telling us, how terrible they think they are, that they think we are, just based on what we say in the ad. Well, you know what? Dodge that bullet. That's not a person I want to hire. It's not a person I want to waste my time interviewing. It's not a person I want to subject the rest of my team to.
100%. What you're basically saying is polarity. You want to attract the right people, and you want to repel the wrong people and dodge those bullets. And so
the way you set yourself up to answer your question is you begin in the recruiting phase of the relationship. You begin in the recruiting phase of the relationship by openly and proudly, hopefully, discussing your values and your mission and your purpose and what your law firm stands for, right? And people who love it are going to be attracted magnetically to your business, and people who are repelled will be, pushed away.
On the recruiting side, when you're saying the polarity elements, the attract versus the repel, what is the process that you would coach small law firms on? Does it start with the job post ad before anything, or is the values of the practice have to be really figured out before that job post ad is created? Like, where would you originate this with a small law firm as far if they wanted to sort of embody this process?
Right. That's a great question. So in a perfect world, you invest the time to get clear on your values and your mission and your vision, and you write about it, and you have videos about it, and it's all over your website, and it's all over your marketing, so that when the candidates begin doing some research into your firm before they apply, they see that this isn't just something you put in your recruiting, that you're living by it. That's my perfect world. Now, in reality, a lot of people watching this are like, yeah, that sounds great. I need help now, right? You begin where you're at. You just try to take some time, invest some time to think about and articulate what is the mission of your firm? What are the values of your firm? What does your firm stand for, right? A family law firm doesn't stand for divorce. An immigration law firm doesn't stand for immigration. A bankruptcy law firm does not stand for bankruptcy. I could go on. A litigation firm does not stand for we're for litigation, right? These are things that law firms do in pursuit of their purpose. But it's not the purpose of the firm, obviously, right? Like how to manage a small law firm. Our purpose, our business exists for two main reasons. One is to help, and they're really kind of the same reason, but it's easier to express them as two main reasons. And one is to help everyone we come in contact with to make progress towards their fullest potential. This goes for everyone who works for us. This goes for everyone who hires us. This goes for our vendors. Everyone who comes into contact with this organization in some way, shape, or form, we really, genuinely, sincerely, and this may seem cheesy, and this may seem hokey, and this may seem stupid and pointless to some people, but those are people who probably wouldn't be happy working with us. But to people who really resonate with this, you see this in everything we do, that we're always looking for ways to help people make progress towards their fullest potential, even if they're just coming in for a part-time job. And the other purpose, which is really kind of the same as the first one, but the other side of it is we exist to help people. We exist to expose and crush the doctrine of sacrifice. The doctrine of sacrifice has people believing that they should take pride in how much they suffer, they should take pride in how much they sacrifice, they should take pride in how much they endure, and they should apologize for their greatness, which you can see these are kind of the same thing, right? And the reason why I said just start with where you're at is you got to keep in mind, I've been working on this for going on 20 years, and I still haven't figured out how to get these two statements to really fit together better. It's a work in progress. And I think that when you are speaking truth from the heart, sincerely, it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be smooth and polished. It just needs to be honest, and people can feel that. So yeah, take some time to figure out, what does your business really stand for? How is your law firm? How are you using your law firm to try to make the world a better place, right? Why does it matter to you to do what your law firm does? Talk about those things, and you're naturally going to attract candidates who agree with you. An immigration law firm, for example, that believes that movement across borders is a natural human right, and that all immigration restrictions are violative of human rights. Now, I'm not saying I agree with that or don't agree with that. That's just something that one of the immigration law firms that I work with, they really believe that. I mean, they really, to their core, believe that. Well, a xenophobic a xenophobic racist isn't going to apply for that law firm, right? Good. You shouldn't. But a person who believes in this is going to feel like they're part of something bigger than just an immigration law firm.
So vision first. And I think that, there's plenty of vision exercises, plenty of things to go through out there, but you get the vision hammered out first, and that becomes a way to attract some of the right, ideal type of client or of employees.
Prospective employees. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's funny you said attract prospective client, because it is marketing. Recruiting is marketing. Marketing, recruiting, same thing. Recruiting is marketing, and it's sales. You have to market to attract the right prospective employees, and then you have to sell them on why this firm is the firm that's going to help them make progress on their fullest potential in life. Why this firm and not that firm? You got to sell them on that.
100%. And I think that we literally had a conversation last week with one of our new people who was completely bought in by, I wanted to apply. I want to be a part of this because of the vision. And that was the primary reason to apply and to go through the process.
I want to add one more thing. Sorry.
Yeah.
Unless you're content to work with a bunch of losers, If you're content to work with a bunch of losers who have no better options than to take whatever job they can get, well, then you don't need to waste your time with any of this stuff. But if you want to work with A players, A players have options. They've got choices. They don't need to take your job. You need them to get excited about your job. That's part of the that's part of the responsibility, if you will, of making the commitment to not settle for less than A players on your team.
So that leads me to a question I wasn't going to touch on, but I think that it's a good sort of actually segue into it. There's a lot of people, attorneys included, just small business owners in general, that wait and wait and wait and wait because I don't know if now's the right time to hire. I don't know if I can afford the A player, or what if. Could you maybe have the separate, the opposite position, which I know that you do, of, what would that look like, and what sort of mental hurdles should they be thinking about overcoming or just getting over when it comes to just make that hire, even maybe before you might feel like you're slightly ready for it?
Right. So I'm going to say something that I want to just ask I'm trusting your audience, Dre, to not take what I'm about to say to the nth degree and the most extreme example of it, and then say, and that's why it doesn't make any sense, right? You got to be realistic about what I'm about to say. There's never a bad time to hire an A player. Never. I don't care what's going on in your business. I don't care what's going wrong in your life. It's never the wrong time to hire an A player. You're walking down the street and you find $100 bill on the ground. There's never a bad time to just pick it up and put it in your pocket, right? There's never a bad time to hire an A player. Anytime you are fortunate enough to discover an A player available, you hire them. You figure out what to do with them later. A players, part of the definition of an A player is that an A player always finds a way to make a to pay for themselves and more. An A player always, if I said to you, hey, I've got this piece of equipment, and all you got to do is plug this piece of equipment into the wall, supply it with the supplies that it's required, and do the maintenance that's required, and it's just going to make a profit for you, make a profit for you, make a profit for you, make a profit for you. Just plug it into the machine, plug it into the wall, feed it supplies, do the regular routine maintenance, and it's going to spit out a profit for you every single day. What are you going to tell me? Now's not a good time? It's always a good time, right? That's an A player. You should be getting at least a 5 times ROI, 3 to 5 times, 3 at the least. Ideally, you're aiming for a 5 times ROI on your A player. If you are investing $1 on that A player, they're bringing you back $3 to $5 directly or indirectly in your business. When's it not a good time to do that? Right? And guess what? They work for you for free for the first 2 weeks. Right? Because they work for you for 2 weeks, and then you pay them. Right? If you got a good onboarding plan and you hire an A player, I mean, they're paying for themselves before you really have to pay them anything anyway.
So when it comes to finding A players, so we have the vision dialed, we have the structure of, employees, staff, team, etc. What about when it comes to finding A players? And on the other side of that, what about just finding employees that you believe that you can eventually ascend? Are you looking different places? Are you trying different strategies between those two things? What would you recommend?
Right. First off, let me just give this caveat. I've seen too many than I could even count. I mean, we're talking into the thousands, not dozens, not hundreds, thousands of small law firm owners who I've seen make this mistake. And if you get nothing else from this entire webinar series, which I know you can get a lot because we've covered some really great material in this whole program, this is maybe the most important thing you're going to hear. Do not hire a project. Do not hire someone and think you're going to like mentor them up and coach them up while you yourself are barely even have your head above water. Until your business is at least, I'd say, around $2 million in revenue, till your law firm is at least about $2 million in revenue, you have a full-time professional legal administrator, you have a robust recruiting, onboarding, and training program in place, and you, the owner, can take off for 30 consecutive days with emergency access only. Until you've got your law firm to that level, I think it is irresponsible, is very unprofitable, and I think it's disrespectful to a person to hire them and tell yourself that you're going to like train and mentor them up and like take them under your wing, right? Why? Because a person who needs to be trained and mentored up, they need a lot of attention. They need a lot of care. They need a lot of time, which you're not going to have if you're scrambling to do 20 different things in your business yourself. And when they make a mistake, you're not going to have the time or the patience or the bandwidth to give them really good coaching and mentorship around that mistake. You're instead, more often what happens is you push them out of the way and you say, let me fix that, because it's an emergency, right? You need to be able to let them make the mistake, let them fall on their face, and then have the patience to let them, which until the business is around $2 million with a professional legal administrator full-time running the day-to-day operations, and you're able to take off for a month at a time with emergency access only, I'm telling you, you're just not in the place yourself to be the kind of mentor that you'd want your own adult children to have early in their career. I'll just say that. You want to know about how to recruit people, where to find them. Yes?
Yep.
Okay. Second big mistake, and I know you didn't ask me this, but I'm going to come at it this way. Second big mistake. Lawyers love to hire helpers. Don't hire a helper. Hire a replacement. You don't need to hire a junior lawyer to help you be a better senior lawyer. What you need to do is hire a senior lawyer to replace you so you can focus on growing the rest of your business. You don't need a helper, you need a replacement. Third, lawyers and all of us, I mean, I'm a lawyer too. We love, the natural inclination is to say, here's all these things that I do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Here's these things that I love to do and I'm great at. Here's these things that I hate to do and I'm terrible at. I'm going to hire someone to do these things that I hate to do that I'm terrible at. Big mistake. You just crush the profitability of your firm. You just flush that money directly down the toilet. You just set yourself up for management hell. Don't do that. All right? Instead, what you want to do, what you should do, is you should hire someone to do something you're already really great at. And it's probably going to be the things you like doing. It's probably going to be the things that are easiest for you. Hire someone to do those things while you figure out how to get the things you don't like to do to work better for your business. Why? Two things. The thing that I am terrible at that I don't know how to do, the thing that I'm great at and I can do in my sleep. You with me? Yeah? Would it be helpful if I held something? Here's a pen and a pair of sunglasses, right? The pen, I'm great at. The sunglasses, I'm terrible at. Someone comes in and they tell me that they're going to be able to do a great job working the pen. I'm a great pen user. I know all about pens and I can use the pen and I've got great penmanship and blah, 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 blah. Well, you know what? I could spot BS in 10 seconds because I know all about the pen, don't I?
Yep.
I can spot the bullshitter. on the interview. I can come in and spot check their work from a mile away and know if there's a problem. And if there's a problem, I can swoop in and fix it. And they can never hold me hostage because I know pens, right? Sunglasses. I don't know sunglasses. I don't like sunglasses. I'm not good at sunglasses. Someone comes and tells me what I desperately want to hear about sunglasses, which is they could do sunglasses for me. I don't know whether they're telling the truth or not. I don't know if they know what they're talking about. I can't spot the bullshitter from a mile away. And I don't know whether they're doing a good job when they come to work for me. And if they aren't, I can't spot it. And even then, I don't know how to fix it. And I become held hostage to them. You understanding what I'm saying here?
100%.
I had a really funny story. My wife is extraordinarily tech savvy, very, very, very tech savvy. And we were hiring someone as my assistant years ago. And I always interview the candidate last. I would always recommend you interview the candidate last. So I was interviewing the candidate last. They went into my wife's office for an interview. And like literally 5-7 minutes later, she's out the door, walks right past me, doesn't even bother to say goodbye. We go into my wife's office. What just happened here? She's like, and my wife, you got to kind of know her. She says, oh, she didn't know the job. She goes back to her, like completely dismissive. Like, what do you mean? She was here for like 5 minutes. She's like, yeah. I asked her, do you know how to do, I don't know, something with a particular software that we use? The candidate said yes, which of course was exactly what I wanted to hear, right? I was desperate to hear that. I bought that hook, line, and sinker. My wife, who's actually an expert, she says, okay, well, tell me how you do this. And the person gave this vague, ambiguous answer. And then my wife said, well, on that second screen, on the drop-down menu, there's this, 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 and this. Which one do you choose? And the person's like, and my wife said, you choose this one, right? And they're like, yeah, that's the one you choose. And then my wife was like, okay. Then on the screen after that, you see this button, and this button. Which do you choose? And the person's like, And the point is, if you really, 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 I mean, if you know sunglasses, you know that stuff, right? It took 5 minutes for my wife to figure out this person didn't really know the software, even though that's a big part of what we were hiring this person to do. And this person was either lying to themselves or lying to us. And so in 5 minutes, she was able to say, nope, you can't do the job. Point being, hire people to do things you're good at, that you know how to do, and figure out how to get the rest of it done. You'll avoid being held hostage. I don't think I answered your question, but I felt like that was important to share. Remind me what your question was.
It was definitely a good detour, and it fills in some gaps for sure. Where are we finding either A players or just employees in general?
Right.
Either or, both and.
Right. So first of all, you're never not recruiting. You should never turn off the recruiting machine. Never turn off the recruiting machine. If you are fortunate enough to find too many A players, then you will soon become the most popular lawyer in town, because you will be able to pick up the phone and call your friends and say, I have manna from heaven to share with you. I have an A player that I can't use. Would you like them? Right? A players don't come along very often. You have to be constantly recruiting for them. Never turn off the recruiting. Okay, so how do you want to do it? How do you do it? Here are some mechanical things. Ready? Number one, make a specific website on your page. Remember, this is marketing. Does your audience know what a landing page is or a squeeze page?
Landing page, yes. Squeeze page is probably a little bit more marketing.
Make a landing page. Make a page on your website specifically dedicated to the recruiting. Number one. Number two, drive traffic to the page, just like you would do in marketing, right? You drive traffic to the page with advertisements, social media posts, things like that. All the ways you would normally drive traffic, you drive traffic. Number three, networking. always asking people, do you know anyone who would be great at this? Do you know anyone who might love to do that? You're never not asking that question when you're out networking. Number 4, and I'll do the math on this if you want, which is grow up and hire a recruiter. Recruiters are very, very profitable. I don't do recruiting. I don't get paid to do recruiting. I don't have any recruiters to refer to you. I got no money to make on recruiting. And I'm telling you, grow up and hire a recruiter. Take yourself seriously enough. Take your business seriously enough. Respect your clients enough to hire a recruiter.
Why?
I wasn't done. Let me do number 4.
Okay.
I know the 5th one will be a little anticlimactic. Like if you're in a hurry to recruit someone, if you're in a hurry to hire someone, you pick up the phone, you call every single person you know, like you're looking for a blood marrow donor, and you say, do you know anyone? Do you know anyone? Do you know anyone? You call your you call everyone who used to work for you, who hopefully you're still on good terms with. You call all of your referral sources. You call opposing counsel who did a good job on a case, and you say, hey, listen, I really respect, we might not have got along so well on that case. You were a really tough advocate on behalf of your client, but I want you to know I really respected you as a lawyer, and my firm is growing and we have huge opportunities, and I never forgot about what a great impression you made on me in that case or that matter. Is there any chance you might be interested in having a conversation about opportunities that may exist now or maybe even in the future here at my firm? You never stop recruiting. The best candidates usually come from recruiters and from your own just picking up the phone and working your list and working your network. Are you under the math on recruiters? Yeah?
Yes.
All right, here's the math on recruiters. Let's just say you're going to hire an employee for $100,000. Got it?
Yep.
All right. That employee is going to cost you $100,000 times 1.20 for benefits and taxes. Always gross it up by 20%. It's $120,000 divided by 52 weeks is $2,300 a week.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yep.
All right. Let's say that you're going to invest the first 3 weeks on just training. Really set yourself up for success. Okay. Imagine you buy a piece of equipment that's going to crank out profits for you, right? And the company that sells you the equipment says, listen, to ensure that this equipment has a long and profitable and trouble-free life, and it doesn't break itself to pieces, you need to lay a solid concrete foundation, and you need to put down rubber gaskets on the floor, and you need to have insulated blah, 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 blah. I mean, but if you install this piece of equipment the right way in your office, it's going to make profit for you. And it's going to give you years of faithful service, right? How big of an idiot do you have to be to throw those instructions away and just drop it on the floor, plug it in, and turn it on? I mean, how stupid is that?
It's dumb.
Yes. Well, it's the same thing with employees. You have to install the person properly to set them up for success. You have to train them, indoctrinate them, earn their trust with regard to your culture, your mission, your values. You have to train them on how the equipment works. I mean, just how to use the software, how to use the scanner, how to use the filing system, just how to use the coffee machine, just how do the things work around here? The smartest person in the world doesn't know how your coffee machine works, right? They never used it before. I'm being a little bit facetious with the coffee machine, but even if it's a software program that they've used before, invest in having them do some training. And then the third track on the onboarding, the training, is give them some fake work to do. Tell them this is fake. This is pretend work. I'm giving you a pretend assignment for you to do some pretend work so that you can make mistakes with something that's not live ammunition, right? This way, when, not if, they make a mistake with this fake work you're giving them, a fake motion, a fake pleading, a fake research assignment, whatever, you can review it and you're relaxed, right? You're not freaking out because they didn't just screw up a live case. And we do 3 weeks of this to set them up for success. So $2,300 a week is what it's costing you to have them there. Yes?
Yep.
Times 3 weeks is going to be 30. Let's call it $7,000. It's going to cost you $7,000. You with me?
Yep.
All right. And you're going to expect that person to produce at least a 3 times ROI. So let's say you expect them to produce at least $21,000 a week of productive work. Now, they might be producing $21,000 a week of billables, or they might be producing $21,000 a week of free capacity for other people to produce real billables. You follow what I'm saying?
Yep.
I often tell people that the very most profitable person on my staff, and we've had this conversation, and I know the most profitable people on your staff too, these are the people who work in our home, aren't they?
A lot of them.
The most profitable person on my entire staff is my son's executive assistant, also known as his nanny. He's 7 years old. We call her his executive, right? Because she gives me and my wife the freedom to be at our fullest and best capacity when we need to be at our best. I have a house manager. My house manager allows me to live in my home carefree as if my home is a hotel, right? That's enormously profitable for me, right? Because what's not profitable is sweeping and mopping my own floors. What's not profitable is doing my own laundry. What's not profitable is mowing my own grass. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
Anyway, the point I'm making is, let's say this person is going to generate $21,000 times 3 ROI is $21,000 a week. And let's say that $21,000 a week is going to produce, after it's all said and done, $7,000 of net operating income. In other words, $7,000 a week of profit, 1/3. They generate $21,000. $7,000 is what it costs to have them. $7,000 is going to go to other overhead and expenses involved in running the business. And $7,000 is real, actual owner profit to the owner. Are you with me?
Yep.
All right. How much would you pay me if I gave you a machine that all you had to do was plug it in, set it up right, invest $7,000 to I think I did the math wrong.
You're investing $7,000 across that 3-week period.
It's $2,300 a week. It's $2,300 a week. Yeah, I did the math wrong. It's $2,300 a week times 3 is $7,000. So it's $2,300 a week of profit.
Yeah.
$2,300 a week of profit is 2, 4, 8, as $9,000 a month of profit. That $100,000 employee should be producing around $9,000 a month of profit. You with me?
Yep. And that's
So
covering them, additional overhead, and that is the profit at the end. Yep.
Right. So if they're generating $9,000 a month in profit, how much would you pay me to have something that could produce $9,000 a month of profit? Would you pay me $9,000?
Yeah, a single month's worth of salary. Yeah.
All right.
Usually it's more than that, but yes, yeah, it would
Pay me $18,000 to have something that produces $9,000 a month of profit.
Yeah, I
You
can
pay me
positively ROI after 60
once.
days. Yeah.
You pay me $18,000 once, and the first month you get 9,000, and the second month you get 9,000, you break even, and the third month you're in the money. Yeah?
Yep.
Well, a recruiter only charges you 3 months. And they only get paid if you hire the person. And they only get paid if the person lasts 90 days. Right? And if you do any negotiating with them whatsoever, you ought to be able to get them to let you make those payments in 3 chunks: 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And you ought to be able to get them to agree to give you a 100% credit on 90 days, not a BS prorated credit. So
yeah, so that's the case. Like the downside is largely mitigated. You either have an A player that pays for themselves very quickly within 90 days, or if they don't even last 90 days, you're not really out anything.
Exactly. Except your time. And look,
Yeah.
I mean, the risk there too.
Sure.
But the point I'm trying to make is, how many months of lost opportunity do most small law firm owners waste because they've got this story in their head that they've never actually done the math on? Oh, recruiters are too expensive. They're not. I mean, I used to be one of those people. I used to think recruiters were too expensive until I started using them and realizing, wow, they're profitable.
Yeah, 90 days is a no-brainer if you're looking for that A-level talent. If you
if you're hiring C players, then it takes a year to get them to be profitable. Then the math doesn't work.
No. When it comes to, so if someone wasn't going to choose the recruiter option, which I think it's a good tactical option, like that's an option. If they were to go a different way and just pure tactics, because a lot of what we're talking about so far is strategy. Is there anywhere where you're seeing law firms have more success on recruiting talent? Is that LinkedIn? Is that Indeed? Is that shaking hands and kissing babies and networking in the community to find the people? Where are you seeing more success for a lot of small law firm owners to find some of that additional talent if they chose not to use a recruiter?
Right. And I should also say that for the lower level positions, recruiters are not always available. Right? Recruiters, because they work on a percentage of salary for the most part, they work on a success fee. You're not going to find a recruiter to find you a receptionist. You're not going to find a recruiter to find you an assistant. You're not going to, right? You're going to have to, you don't typically get into being able to find a recruiter willing to take the job until you get into $75,000, $100,000 salary levels, which, kind of limits where you can use them. The LinkedIn, Indeed, Wise Hire, blah, blah, blah. I mean, those on any given day, depending on what direction the wind is blowing, one is better than the other. The very, very best way to do this, is literally, you set up the website, the dedicated web page, you load it full of your values, your philosophies, your beliefs, what you stand for, why it matters to you. We even have a video that we had produced where we went around and interviewed a bunch of our clients and a bunch of our long tenured employees, talking about what it's like to do business with our company. Because we know that A players care about working for a reputable company that actually does real good in the world. So we actually interviewed our clients, right? Law firm can interview your clients. Why not, right? If you're recruiting people to join your firm on a mission to make the world a better place for X kind of people, well, interview a bunch of your clients and have them talk about how this firm really lives up to your values and lives up to the mission, and how the law firm really made their life better, and how they really valued and respected and appreciated their interactions with the staff of the law firm. I mean, who wouldn't want to work for a firm like that? And then, of course, interview the actual employees also, talking about what it's like to work in a firm like this. Make a website, talk about your values, Put a video like that. It doesn't need to be like all professionally edited and complicated and all that. It could be a smartphone thing, right? It doesn't have to be that complicated. And then you have a place to drive candidates to. And then you send emails out to everyone you know, and you pick up the phone and you call a bunch of people, call your best referral sources. They obviously think highly of your firm. That's why they're your best referral sources. They might also know people who might want to go work for your firm. Call, like I said, call lawyers who you've gone up against in court or who have been on the other side of a deal, who you respected, and ask them, would you ever consider working here? I'm famous for recruiting people out of restaurants. I am. I mean, you can't go to a restaurant with me without meeting. I meet a server. The only reason that you didn't see me recruiting the shit out of people out of that restaurant we went to in Phoenix is because we're actually friends with the owner, and I wouldn't do that to a friend. I would recruit the crap out of his staff. He's got an amazing staff, right? Those servers have a customer service flair. Those servers in that restaurant, they understand how to give a great experience to people. Man, I would put them in our customer service department all day long. Look for people who are doing a great thing in a different line of business, and say, wow, you know what? You are on your feet all day long, dealing with the public, taking shit from abusive customers at this crappy restaurant. Would you be interested in something that's possibly better? Right?
Phrased that way, it's hard not to at least consider it.
You'd be very surprised how many people are going to say no. The vast majority of people who I present this to say no. And then just as a very practical matter, having the website with the landing page is now an important part of the process, because especially if you're a man having this conversation with a woman, and I'm sorry, this is just how it is in society today. A lot of times they get the wrong idea, and they might think that, you're being inappropriate. And it's really great to be able to say, I don't need your phone number. I don't need your email address. Go to this website to learn more. And it's a really easy way to have that conversation with people.
So a lot of what we discussed up until this point has been ascension inside of the team, some onboarding from the front end as far as where to find them, different ways, the philosophy and elements and these sorts of things. One thing I briefly want to touch on before we start rounding things out is, what do you recommend when it comes to a law practice on the training side of things? Because we see so many things like, this is just the way that it's done. Maybe there aren't documented processes, or like, John or Susie Q, whoever's done this way for 30 years. If we want to hire someone and set them up for success, what is the best way to start going about doing that in some of these small law firms so that they can do that and set their future employees up for more success?
Okay, so let me ask you a question as a representative of the Daniels Head in Legal Malpractice Insurance Agency. Okay. Yeah. Would the insurance agency prefer that the law firm give their employees more training or less training?
Definitely more.
Why would the insurance company care whether I give my employees more training or less training?
Mitigates risk. More educated and informed employees make less errors or mistakes, which could potentially have less recourse on a malpractice incident, or just client satisfaction at bare minimum. So, I mean, those are some of the big underpinnings, but there'd be a lot.
Exactly. And there's a huge number of potential legal malpractice insurance claims that you never even see, because they don't rise to the level of legal malpractice. They simply die off as a wildly unprofitable transaction, right? A lot of legal malpractice actions are snuffed out by simply, swallowing the grenade, so to speak, because they just basically flush all the profits from the relationship down the toilet and say, we'll give you a refund, or we'll do a whole bunch of more work for you for free. The point I'm making is, training staff is profitable. It's profitable, it's profitable, it's profitable, it's profitable, it's profitable. I could just repeat it 100 times. It's profitable. Okay, so now you want to know how they do it, right? All right.
Yep.
So this goes back to the recruiting, actually. You make a list of each thing that you want the person to be able to do, right? So if it's I don't know, let's just say it's a litigation firm, right? You want the person to be able to prepare interrogatories. You want the person to be able to conduct depositions. You want the person to be able to defend depositions. You want the person to be able to argue a motion for protective order. You want someone to be able to argue, prepare, and argue a motion to compel. I'm just use those 5 examples, right?
Yep.
Well, these are the things that go into the job description. In the job description, you literally say, must be able to demonstrate the ability to prepare interrogatories for these kinds of cases, must be able to demonstrate the ability to prepare, to conduct depositions for cases with these kinds of facts, must be able to demonstrate the ability to defend depositions, must be able to prepare and argue motions to compel, and so on and so forth, right? Like literally get specific in the job description, because what most people do is they say, oh, we're looking for an associate with 3 to 5 years of experience. Like that matters, right? I've got 3 to 5 years of experience doing nothing, doing everything badly, versus I've got 2 years of experience and I can demonstrate that I can do these 5 things you need me to do. Obviously, you'd rather have the person with 2 years of experience who can demonstrate that they actually know how to do the job than the person who's got 10 years of experience who doesn't know how to do anything.
Yep.
Right? Which then sets you up for what the interview is going to be, right? So now you're interviewing the candidate and you give them, okay, you know, when you come in for the interview, we're going to have you do come in for a 3-hour interview, right? They walk in the door and you say, here is a sample fact pattern for this. Here's a sample fact pattern for that. Here's a sample whatever for the third. Go into the conference room. We'll see you in 45 minutes, right? If you come out of the conference room, and if they come out of the conference room in 45 minutes, they got nothing, interview's over. It doesn't matter where they went to law school. It doesn't matter what law firm they used to work for. It doesn't matter what a great story they tell you. They've just demonstrated they can't do the job. Interview over. You then also use that as your onboarding and training program. Again, it's one part culture, history, values, books you've read, movies you've watched, things you've seen or done that influence your values and your culture. Share it with them as part of the training. Read this book. Let me know what you think. Read this book. Write me a 2-page report as to why you think I wanted you to read the book. Did they get the point? Did they even read it? Second part is, again, you know, the software, the filing system and things like that. And the third part is practical. Here is some fake work to do. And you literally can just take an old case. I mean, you don't need to make stuff up. It's all public record. It's filed with the court. You can literally take an old case, strip out. I mean, the opposing counsel has already given you all the assignments, right? Every assignment that opposing counsel gave you that you had to deal with, you give it to them and you say, deal with it. How would you deal with this? Show me how you would deal with that, right? Another thing people don't do when they're interviewing candidates is, especially if it's an attorney, and I know I want to talk about paralegals and legal secretaries, but especially if it's an attorney, you know, oh, so you say you've taken 3 cases to trial. Bring me the trial record. Let me see it. It's all public record. You know, you say you've handled these motions. It's all public record. Let me see the transcript. Okay, why did you argue this? Why did you argue that? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Ask them these questions. It's all there to see. But people don't look at the right things when they're interviewing candidates. They look at resumes. Resumes don't matter. Results matter. Actually, the ability to do things matters. They listen to stories. Don't listen to stories. Actually give them something to show you what they're capable of.
So that, yeah, it's a good way to to line it up. And then you also
Listen,
start
let me
building.
just say this, Dre. We
Yeah.
manage over 600 small law firms, right? We function as the CEO. We function as the chief operating officer. We function as the chief financial officer. We function as the chief marketing officer. In our role as chief operating officer, which is akin to a professional legal administrator, this is what we do. We set this stuff up all the time. No one comes out of law school knowing this stuff. No one teaches this stuff to lawyers. If you're watching this and you're feeling like, oh my God, am I the only person who doesn't know this? No, most people don't know this, which is precisely why most law firm owners do not have wildly successful law firms. Building a wildly successful law firm that financially, personally, professionally just kicks ass, it's not rocket science. But if no one's ever taught you this stuff, you got to learn it or you're going to suffer the consequences. And if you look around you, wow, I'm judging myself by all these other people who have never learned this stuff either. And compared to them, I guess I'm doing okay. I mean, that's kind of sad. Don't do that. Hold yourself to a higher standard.
And that goes back to the very first one of these that we did. If people need a little bit of that kick in the rear end, that'd be a good one to go watch on that. As we round out, everyone attending live, we'll be sending out a 5-page cheat sheet on a lot of these concepts around the employment side of things, and some different ins and outs there that Arjan and the How to Manage a Small Law Firm team have pieced together. If you're watching this on the recording, there'll be some link on the page where you can go download that from the How to Manage team on that side of things. Arjan, anything closing words or anything we want to wrap up with today as we wish everyone well?
Are we doing Q&A or no?
We didn't have it scheduled for this time. No.
Okay. Well, then I got nothing else to say.
All right. Yeah, we had an hour scheduled for this one. We got Q&A scheduled on the next one though, for next month for a full 90 minutes regarding Q&A with a lot more of the ins and outs of things. So, with that said,
yeah, I do have something I want to say.
Yeah.
We have each committed to do this for a year. We have a year-long schedule that we've both committed to doing, right? And we have a series of topics that we've agreed we think make sense, that we think owners of small law firms should know about, would benefit from knowing about. But if there's something that you in the audience really want to know more about, let us know. Either we can work it into something we've already got planned, or maybe, you got a better idea for a topic. I can talk about anything to do with law firm management. It's all the same to me. And I think Dre's happy to help in any way that adds value to the relationship with Daniel's head.
Yep. Happy to do it. So with that said, I guess we'll wish everyone well, and we'll see you all next month for another awesome session. And we'll see you then.
See you in 2
Have a great rest of the month, y'all.
Bye.